taking full advantage of their technological skills and their personality. Current A&M wide receiver Chase Lane, also the host of the podcast, The Pod of Aggieland, The Pod of Aggieland, Chase Lane. You can find on iTunes, all kinds of places. He joins us next as we continue to follow the money. He's one of the foremost leaders on the 2022 Aggie football team. He's been on campus since 2019. He's caught 45 balls for about 600 yards and a couple touchdowns dating back to that breakout campaign in 2020. He's the son of a college chancellor. His father, Austin's the chancellor in Southern Illinois, and his love for all things Aggieland has been on full display since the minute that he arrived in College Station. You will find him at many, many A&M sporting events. He's probably, in my 20 years covering Texas A&M in a media perspective, probably the single most vocally supported football player of women's athletics during the time that he's been on campus. It's been fun to watch and fun to follow. You can follow him at Chase L. Lane on Twitter. You can download his podcast. We thought we had the podcast in Aggieland until The Pod of Aggieland came out on iTunes and all kinds of podcast platforms. We gladly take a back seat to current A&M wide receiver Chase Lane, who joins us on the show. Chase, welcome to Follow the Money, man. How you doing?
Doing good, man. Thank you, Gabe, for allowing me to be in this space, and I'm really looking forward to the conversation. So.
Yeah, no question. For starters, can you catch us up a little bit what the season's been like for you at the halfway mark so far, Chase?
Yeah, so right now we're in our bye week. We're 3-3 at the moment. Not necessarily where we expected to be, but life throws curveballs at you, so it's all about how you respond to those curveballs. So right now we're in a regrouping kind of state. Guys are just trying to stay as positive as possible. And for myself, I'm just trying to stay ready for my moment because, like I've said in my podcast, I haven't really been having the season that I expected for myself. But I've kind of moved on to a role to, help bring along these younger guys. And, I'm just really focusing on being a really good teammate and just continuing to stay ready whenever my number is called. So right now I'm just, continuing to work hard and continuing to be that upperclassman and that leader in that locker room for the younger guys.
I want to talk about to you. NIL has been around now a bit over a year, Chase. It's had its impact around the country in so many different kinds of ways. But I've been very interested in how it really works in the locker room. Can you just reflect on the impact NIL's had in your locker room, where you're in every day, basically, and how is it really affecting pro or con the players you deal with every day?
Yeah, good question. So it's kind of hard because when NIL first happened, it was new to everybody, and so everybody was like, "Oh, okay, we're all gonna get some kind of deals. We're all gonna see the same types of money and things like that." But it's kind of weird because not everybody has the benefit of getting those kind of deals. So I've been fortunate enough to have some NIL deals, as well as some other guys in the team. But we have some guys in the team who haven't touched any type of money from NIL. But in our locker room specifically, I think we've done a good job of, just not letting it get in the way of what we need to do in order for us to be successful on the field. For me, I would like to see everybody have a take on NIL deals and see guys that haven't really gotten deals get more deals, but it's just the nature of things, and it's kind of hard to put everybody on deals because, it's a messy business, but everybody's still learning in this space, from student athletes to staff to everybody. And, Texas has its own laws, so it gets tricky in that regard as well. But in our locker room, I think guys are handling it pretty well. I feel like last year it kind of got messy because, it was just the first year of everything. But now moving on to year 2 of NIL, I think guys are really starting to, just hunker down on like what's right, what's not right, like what's appropriate, what's not appropriate, and, just having that fine line between football and business. So
have you seen these sort of pitfalls early, Chase, during that, in terms of what dudes were signing, and then they go try to do another deal, and then they're like, and I'm not asking you to be specific, but maybe it's just your buddy somewhere else, or maybe you talk to your dad about some of the things. Just in college football, it doesn't have to be A&M's locker, but did you see things early that's like, man, I really wish we knew, and we know now, but I really wish at the time we knew it. Are you trying to sort of steer the younger guys of, hey, be careful because this is out there, right? Because it's all brand new still.
Yeah. So what I didn't know was with certain deals, if you sign them, it and like you said, I don't want to get too specific, but with certain deals in that you sign, you have to really make sure you read your contracts because the percentages of what you'll receive. If you sign this deal, it might prohibit you from doing deals with other companies who represent the same kind of product. So I didn't know that until we started having more like talks about it and just educate myself and having talks with my dad on everything. So what I do now is, and I urge like the younger guys to do so. I read my contracts myself, but then I send them to my parents as well, so they can get a glimpse over it. And just having parents who are just really like well versed in that kind of realm in that space is really I'm really fortunate of that. But I just don't really like to have it in the hands of my agent. I like to make sure I get multiple eyes on it for the people who care about me, who have my best interests at heart. So my advice to the younger guys is to not just to hop on a deal because it looks good and you can post about it on social media and you look cool doing it, but really just educating yourself on the depths of NIL because, like I said, it's so tricky. And I think guys who are new to college football and new to this new world of NIL will just see like, oh, look, I can go make some money real quick. No, it doesn't work like that. There's gonna always be some give and take in that. And and to guys who are trying to get agents, there is a thing called agent fees. And to make sure that when you do get these deals and you do sign these contracts, to really make sure you put money aside because you're going to have to give some return on that. So really just making sure that when you see these dollar bills and you see all this money, making sure that you just don't go out and just blow it so quick because you have it, but just really making sure you're putting the money in the right places to where if you need it one day, you can always come back to it.
John?
So Chase, one of the things that's early on is happening here. You see in the locker room that some guys are maybe having a little bit more NIL money than others. How do you keep those guys humble, and how do you kind of try to keep that locker room camaraderie there? And I don't know if it's poking fun at them or bringing them down, or whatever you guys do. Have you kind of got that? How do you guys try to treat those situations in the locker room and go to these kind of guys? Know, hey, there's still a job we got to do out on the field, no matter what your NIL scoreboard says.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard, and especially if it's like a younger guy who has seen money, more money than an older guy or vice versa, it's kind of hard because, at the end of the day, you're dealing with kids who were between the ages of 18 to 22, 23 years old. So, just guys are going to want to flaunt that money and going to want to, just flex on somebody else who doesn't have the same opportunities as the other guy. But I think, like I said, we saw a lot of that last year in the locker room between guys because, like, oh, I signed this deal for this and you only got that, and I think it's just childish. And I think that coming into this year, starting in the summer, we kind of made it. We actually had like player-led meetings about it. Just hey, we're all in this together, and at the end of the day, like if we go out there and produce on the field, then everybody will have the opportunity to have these kinds of deals. So I think we've really stayed true to that and have really tried to enforce that in the locker room so we don't have any of those complacency issues or just guys in the locker room looking down on one another, because then if we don't have each other, then we don't have anything. So I really feel like we've really done a good job of like I said, keeping football and keeping business and not letting any of that kind of poison the locker room, if that makes any sense.
Really so. Doctor?
Well, I agree with John. This is an important question to explore here. We all worried early on that you might have a quarterback or receiver who makes a big deal. So how does an O-lineman feel about that? If you're only O-line, you're getting nothing.
Yeah.
Do I put my body in the way here because, my quarterback's getting all this big money right now? I haven't seen much evidence of that. You're confirming that there's maturity, there's thoughtfulness, there's a recognition that we're on this together, and some may benefit more or less than others, but we're in together, and I appreciate that. And I appreciate your leadership on the team. I think that's key. Coaching's great and important and everything about it, but nothing beats a team leader like you coming in there and getting the guys to think about something and understand what's right, what's wrong. How do we amplify the right stuff? How do we fix the wrong stuff here and go forward together? I just appreciate that. How did you see yourself moving into leadership? Did you sort of see yourself early on as a leader, or is that something that kind of grew on you over a while?
Yeah, and good question. I think for me, I always felt like when I first got to college, coming in with the class I came in with, I always felt like I don't want to say different, but I've always felt like I had more maturity, excuse me, than the people I've always been around, especially my age. So, coming in as a freshman, I was an under recruited guy. I was like in a quiet shell because I didn't really feel like I had any leverage to speak up and to say anything with all the older guys in the room. But I think I saw growth in my leadership development coming back for that COVID year because that was my first year playing, and I felt like I had a voice in the locker room and on the field and off the field. So since that year, I feel like I've just continued to take steps, and now, even though I'm a redshirt junior, this is my fourth year here on the team. I feel like it is my job to not only be a leader on the field, even though I haven't been seeing the production I've wanted to see, but be that same leader off the field. And I'm not the guy. I've never been the guy who's gonna just rah, gonna yell at you, gonna do this, do that. But I'm more so like to lead by example. And so for me, like I got my degree in 3 years. So I'm just really harping to guys like, look, we all want to go to the NFL, but I like to approach guys more so in an intellectual way to let guys know, like, and I think that it might have to do something with my dad being a college chancellor and just education and academia just being such a priority in my life, but just letting guys know that, look, like, the field stuff is going to end one day. You feel me? So make sure that you are taking advantage of the opportunities this university has to offer you off the field, because those are going to last longer, way longer than the opportunities on the field. So, and I think just getting guys to realize that and to just, just approach them differently than they've been approached, because, growing up, being a football player, you've really only been approached about like, okay, this is what you need to do to get to the league. Like football. And even though football is a humongous priority in all of our lives, just showing them that I can be a motivator and a leader and a mentor for them off the field academically, trying to get them active in more things in academics, trying to push guys to finish up and get their Aggie rings, trying to get guys to want to graduate and to want to do well in their classes. And I think that has resonated with a lot of guys. And and like I said, just leading by example and just being impactful. I'm a president of an organization called the Blueprint, which stands for Black Leaders Who Undertake Excellence. And so, just trying to get guys to come out to events, just to interact and to communicate with other people outside of football, because I feel like sometimes we're just so caught up in our own bubble in football. We don't really get to just enjoy being college athletes and to enjoy communicating and having conversations with different people and learning about them and learning about their sports. And I think I think that's why I gravitate towards just going and supporting different sporting events, because I'm really just trying to take in the full experience. So I think that the way I have led my life and the way that I have gone about my tenure here while I've been at A&M, I think it has been observed and viewed by other guys, and hopefully the younger guys can, just when I'm not here, just take that on and just be that guy, be the next me, but in your own way, if that makes any sense.
Oh, yeah. I just come from being like collegiality being so important and just all things college, not just your little box, and take advantage of the entire experience. Were those some of the pieces of advice that your dad and mom? I understand mom runs the place. Your dad gets a lot of credit. But, I mean, your parents definitely, what kind of advice did they really instill in you to take full advantage of the experience in front of you?
I think it was some of my parents, but mostly I think it was just me. And like I said, I've had those lessons from my parents to, just embrace being a college student, because you only get to do it once, and you only get to do life once at that. So I didn't really get it until that COVID year. I feel like 2020 was such a big year for me in all terms, in all phases of life. But to just supporting just different sports and to really just embrace like the student athlete itself, I think that just goes into my desires of one day being in broadcasting, because I've always had aspirations of being on the ESPN, on the Fox Sports, but then also just wanting to be an athletic director one day. So just, I've used this as kind of experience to see what my career would look like one day, because, Ross, he goes to all the sporting events. He's always talking with other student athletes, just building those relationships. So, me and Ross are very close. So just kind of seeing what his day to day would be, and just making it part of my life. So I make it I do make a tenacious effort. Hey, I'm gonna go to the soccer game today. I'm gonna go to the volleyball game. I'm gonna go watch women's basketball. And once I started doing that, I was like, these like sporting events are actually fun, and I feel like more people should be tuning into these, especially like at A&M. We always harp on being a family, and we always harp on just our core values. But I feel like sometimes we only focus on football. Now, mind you, we are a football school, but I don't think that takes away from any other sports we have here, because if you look back 2 years ago, we had tremendous success in many different sports at A&M. So just taking that all in and, just tying that into what I want to do one day for a career, it was really easy for me to just transition into embracing being a student athlete and the student athlete itself.
That's great. Just know that Texas A&M is blessed by having you there, Chase. We all appreciate what you're able to do there, and you're the complete package. You're a guy who's trying to make an impact in so many different ways, and I just can't wait to watch your future trajectory. Quite frankly,
Sure, I appreciate it.
Incredible.
I appreciate it.
There was a record-setting quarterback here named Gerard Johnson, and I always thought that guy could do. He's a great singer. He was a great quarterback. He played. He bounced around the league for a while. He's now coaching under O'Connell with the Vikings, and his brother's the strength coach. I mean, it's a great situation. But incredible broadcaster. So there's just so many avenues and places you could go, and I love that you're taking advantage of giving yourself your own internship with your own podcast that you run, are the managing editor of, and produce and host. So what's that been like? What's the locker room reaction been? Have guys been begging to get on? What's it just been like to start your own deal?
It's been so fun because it's always been something that like I was like, can I do it? Like I want to do it, but I really just put my foot down for myself and held myself accountable. And it was like, look, we're gonna do it. My agent, he did a great job of reaching out to some companies that would be able to host my show. And like I said, I do have aspirations of being on TV, on ESPN, and just being a TV personality. So I saw this as just a great opportunity for me to just gain experience to see if I am, if I have the charisma, the ability to just go on camera and just talk and speak. So it's been so fun. The team loves it. Guys are always asking me every week if I'm going to bring them on the show. And I kind of have a format. So I have like guests lined up until December. And I've really taken it serious, man. I got my microphone right here. So I've really taken it serious. I love doing it. Coaches, they always ask me about it. So I really like that the team and just people in College Station have really just supported it. And it's a thing I love. I love filming. I film on Sundays and I film on Wednesdays, and I always look forward to doing it. Like I said, I take it so serious because I see this kind of gravitating and transitioning into a bigger career for myself. So, yeah, it's been a fun semester thus far, just doing the show.
Well, John used to hire TV personalities for a living at the highest level. Does he got what it takes, John?
So far, so good. I was thinking, Chase, hearing you speak here, that one of the stories we talked about earlier in the podcast was the young man who's the quarterback at Penn State. And one of the things that he's done is he's gotten involved with one of his sports management professors there. So he's kind of learned the business from that. And I actually teach a class at A&M. So I may have to have you come in and be part of that. One of your teammates, Anthony Lucas, is in there. He could use a little encouragement. So we'd love to have you talk about that and talk about your career, too. I know there's still a few folks in that space. But a question for you is, you just by nature of our conversation, I just detect a lot of servant leadership traits in you. You see a young freshman coming in. He's kind of struggling. The whole NIL's new. We hear the talk about depression, and now you've gone from high school to college. You were the big man on campus, and now all of a sudden you're running around. It's not coming in easy to you. You see somebody like that, do you go out of your way to try to counsel them and sort of put an arm around them and give them a hug when they need it?
Yeah, most definitely, because I was in that space. I was the guy who I was the big dog on campus. I was the guy that got the ball. I was the superstar in high school. And actually, when I first came to A&M, my first fall camp, I struggled mentally so much. I questioned whether I could even play at this level. My freshman season, I was on the scout team for the first 6 weeks, so I've seen it all. I was one of the two only scholarship guys who were on the scout team, so just dealing with all of that mentally was it was definitely a climb for me to get out of that dark space, but it most definitely, because I've always wanted to be a person that someone else can count on, and like I said, because you can't trust anybody and you can't want to play for anybody or with anybody until you form that relationship with them. And so, I've kind of made it. Some young guys during fall camp, just struggling, eating at dinner by themselves, and I just know what it looks like. I know I can sense the body language. I can sense the facial expressions of just what you're going through, and I'm just like, look, like I've been there. But at the end of the day, the concept I really had to truly realize, and what I just harp on the young guys is really just you versus you, because that man you look in the mirror can be your biggest supporter or your biggest enemy. And understanding that concept and knowing that, yes, mental health is a battle that you have to go through daily, but just having those people who are in your life that you can count on to just lean on and just be your support system are so vital. And I always urge guys, just to find, it doesn't have to be a big group of people, but just having those people you can just call this daily to just talk. And, just having those resources to just vent and to just let it out is so vital and so important for me. And I just feel like, it can be so important for anybody else. So, yeah, most definitely. I've always tried to take younger guys under my wing, and not from oh, you need to do this, you need to do that, but more so just from a, I understand, because I feel like so many times we get caught up in wanting to find solutions for other people's problems, but I've kind of taken on a role to just listen and just to console and to just, just be that brother. And so to answer your question, yes, I do take it on as a priority for myself to help younger guys once I see them struggling.
Well, lots of people have a podcast in Aggieland, but the host and creator of the pod of Aggieland, none other than A&M wide receiver Chase Lane. Chase, it's been an honor. We could go 2 hours on this still. Very deep thinker, very good leader. And we didn't want to come in here and debate the third tight end with you, mostly. We wanted to come in here because you do that every day, and we love doing that, right? I spent my whole life doing that. But now it's just more of the really important stuff that's not getting tackled all the time. That's kind of the point of this podcast. We're not an A&M podcast. We're a national college sports podcast on everything happening off the field. And so it was really important, and we have yet until today to get a current player to give us a current state of affairs assessment of what's going on. So we can't thank you enough, Chase. It's awesome.
Yes, sir. Thank you guys for allowing me to be on this show, and to, like you said, we can go on for hours, but I really appreciated the questions, and I really appreciated the dialogue. So I appreciate you guys having me on the show.
There he is, Chase. So much. Thank you, Chase.
So, thanks, Chase.
Thank you.
There you go. There you go.
Have a lot of fun, guys. A lot of fun. He's an extraordinary.
He's a good kid. Yeah.
Who's going to do great things, and I know he has all the benefits some don't have in terms of his family and things like that. But the fact he's trying to share what he's been through with those around him is so incredibly important, so powerful. So as I said to him, we're blessed at this school to have him, and I see him being a leader going forward in everything he does.
Yeah.
There is no doubt about it.
So, Gabe, if you have at least reach out to his agent, I'd love to maybe connect with him and help him sit down and talk about some of his broadcasting aspirations too.
Oh, absolutely. Chase, one of those guys, having been in broadcasting, you and I, John, you for 40 years or something, me for almost 20. I'm not sure his talents are fully going to be, he needs to do the AD thing too. I'd like to see him. It's fascinating to see where he's going to wind up. It's my point. And maybe it is broadcast. He'd be great at it.
No, but I think sometimes you can start at that initially with other things too, and just kind of start to meet those media people. And again, someone like him, if he gets that break, he's not just going to stop being on an air guy. He's going to want to create other content, other programming, just the things, the leadership that he's in. So this whole new streaming world, and the fact that he's already dabbling in that space, just tells you that he's kind of got, he's got a very bright future ahead of him.
Yeah, he might run a network at some point, Dr. Lofton.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
or a university.
All right. Absolutely. So that went a lot longer than I wanted to.